Welcome to the Melissa Cardinals Network. This is Trey Graham and Coach Matt Nally joining you from the Dugout Sports Grill at the Z-Plex. This is our weekly program called the Cardinal Scoreboard Show. We're glad you're joining us tonight. We're going to talk about Melissa Cardinals football. We'll talk about the big victory over Ranch View. We'll give you a preview of the game against the Terrell Tigers coming up. But first of all, Matt Nally, how does 6 in a row sound?
Pretty good. Pretty good. A lot of fun. The kids have really come on as of late, and once again, like I said, varsity reps is the best thing that we could potentially do, and I think we've come together better as a team as the season's come on. And a lot of people want to say, that has a lot to do with victories, but I think there's a lot of teams out there that might struggle with victories, but have a solid foundation of teams. And once you have that and that culture is built, the byproduct is or should be winning. And like some people don't have that. We're just fortunate enough that we have really good players, really good coaches, and I really feel like our teams come together, and it's generated wins.
6 in a row, as a matter of fact.
Right.
Cardinals are 6-2 on the year, 4-0 in the district. We'll talk about their big victory over the Ranch View Wolves in just a few minutes, and it's my job to bring history lessons to you, so I'll give you a little history here in a few minutes. Speaking of history, third season as football head coach.
Right.
Three seasons before that as OC.
Yes, sir.
Frankston, Texas.
Right.
Before that.
Right.
As a head coach.
Right.
Came here to Melissa, went from a head coach to an assistant coach here as the offensive coordinator.
Right.
Under Seth Stenton, who's now the
Correct.
athletic director. How did you get to Melissa, Texas?
So I was in Frankston, Texas. It was my hometown. I climbed the ladder really quickly. So I went from my first job was at Cayuga, Texas, and I was the offensive coordinator that last year there. My wife got pregnant, and we really didn't, we're in that stage of freak out mode. So she wanted her mom, so we went to Frankston. And
You both grew up there?
We both grew up there, yes. So we went to Frankston, and I climbed the ladder really quickly, not meaning to. I went and got my master's degree, and there was an assistant principal job, so I got that job, and I was still the offensive coordinator. And then Mr. Murphy came in as a superintendent, and
That's Keith Murphy, the Melissa superintendent now.
And he was there for a couple years, and our head football coach had left, and I was the offensive coordinator. He left really late, and I was the offensive coordinator, and I got the job. While I was there, I felt like we really maxed out talent. And I had a really good young coaching staff. I might have been the oldest guy on the staff, and I think I was 29. And so I was there for 3 years. We had about as much success as I felt like that we could have had there. But at the time, I was the head football coach. I was the athletic director. I was also the assistant principal. I was the assistant basketball coach, the assistant baseball coach, and assistant track.
Did you do the laundry?
I did the laundry and mowed the grass and striped the field. A lot of coaches don't know that lifestyle. So I was just really burnt out, and I had made a friend that had went to college, junior college with me, who was coaching at North Texas. So, and I was just so tired. I was just so burnt out, so tired, and my wife had just had my third son. And me and my wife had secretively, because it's my hometown. I mean, you got my wife's family and my family. So we kind of secretively had made this agreement that if this had worked out at North Texas, that she was going to go move in with her parents, and I was going to go coach at North Texas and live with a friend of mine, sleep on his couch. So it ended up working out, and but I was coaching baseball at the time, and we were in the playoffs. It was the first time Frankston had made the playoffs, and I couldn't tell you, many, many years. So I got to talking with my wife, and I was like, and they went over the schedule at North Texas with me, and I was like, I just can't, this isn't what I wanted to do at that point in time in my life. Because it was during the off season, and it was a 6-day-a-week job, and you're there from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, and I really wanted to be a dad. And that's why I wanted to get out. So Mr. Murphy had called me probably 2 or 3 months before then and said, hey, I want you to meet Seth Stenton. And out of respect for Mr. Murphy, I said, sure. And so I had a phone conversation with Seth, and then Seth asked me to come up and talk to him about the position that Jason Russell got. And man, I just fell in love with Seth. Like, it was just a breath of fresh air to talk to somebody who had my same ideals, and then somebody that was for kids. And when you get in this profession, sometimes it's not about for kids, it's about winning. And when you really want to impact young people, and that's what we're in this position to do, is to impact people and try to kind of be a guide and be that extra hand for parents to help raise their kids. So having that opportunity and being around Seth and seeing his vision, I really fell in love with that aspect of it. But I told him, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to do this. So make a long story short, we're in the playoffs, in the baseball playoffs, and we end up getting beat. We're in the second round, we end up getting beat. And I remember I come home that night, it's about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and my wife's sitting there, and she's like, I've been praying all night long, it's time for us to leave. So I immediately call Seth.
At 2 in the morning?
Not 2 in the morning.
Okay.
After I wake up, and I say, hey man, is that position still open? And it was. So I took that job. And when I came here, I was just a special teams coordinator and the assistant head football coach. And I loved that year. There were so many great coaches on staff, and I got to, it's just it was a recharging year, and it was such a different place to be in from where I was from. The community was so supportive, and everybody was so supportive of you, and whatnot. It was just a great place to be. But the football team, I think we were 1-9 that year. So after that, Seth said, hey man, I want you to take over the off season and the strength and conditioning, which that is something that I highly enjoy. And then I want you to be the OC. So, and that's, offense. I love offense, and it's kind of my niche. So I was, just super humble that he would ask me to do that, but super excited as well. I got to recharge my batteries and whatnot. So the next year, I got to install the offense that I wanted, and which was air raid concept, RPOs, and things like that.
That's run pass option, as I continue to translate for people who don't speak football.
So, and that next year we went 8-4, and man, we were bringing back so much talent, and it was just like, once again, I believed in Seth, I believed in what the Melissa ISD vision was and whatnot, and my wife loved the schools for my kiddos, so it was just a great place to be at. The next year we ended up going 12-2, and then once again, I had Tate Whittington was my quarterback my first year, and then my next 2 years had Brendan Lewis as my quarterback. So it was pretty easy calling offenses with those kids at the helm. And then after we got beat by La Vega, my third year as the OC, Seth just brought me in, actually sat me down. We were putting stuff up, and he sat me down and said, hey man, I'm going to go be the AD. I said, oh, good for you, man. That's awesome. And he said, I'm going to name you the head football coach. And it kind of took me by surprise, that he had that much.
Seth Stenton was both head football coach and athletic director prior to that.
Right. And it took me by surprise because, like I said, I was just so honored that he would think of me in that regard. So then after that, I just, I went to work, and I took a lot of stuff that I learned from Seth and a lot of stuff that I'd learned from some other people, and kind of built my own program. But like I said, the fundamental piece was kind of what Seth did, and so here we are now.
And you get to work with me.
Yeah, I get to work with you.
Isn't that a great job?
Yeah,
Yes.
heck yeah.
You're watching the Melissa Cardinals Network. We are at the Dugout Sports Grill at the Z-Plex. As you are watching all season long, you've seen progress in the restaurant. It's going to be open to the public in just a couple of more days, and we'll invite you to come and join us on a Monday evening. Be part of our studio audience. You're going to hear some noise, some dishes, and all kinds of things because it's getting more and more busy every week. We are glad you are part of the Melissa Cardinals Network. This is Trey Graham. I'm joined by Matt Nally. We're going to take a break, but before that, I'm going to let Coach Nally brag on our offensive and defensive players of the week that you'll get to meet in just a few minutes. Our offensive player of the game in the victory over Ranchview was Sam Finnegan, the quarterback who only threw for 6 touchdown passes, but he only completed 7 passes, so I guess that's all right. And Parrish Adger, the defensive player of the game. Our Audience will get to meet them in person in just a few minutes, but take a moment to brag on Sam and Parrish.
You know, starting with Sam, there's vocal leaders and there's action leaders. You know, Sam's a combination of both. So, I mean, you know, as a quarterback and a quarterback, that is something that is very intangible in the regards of that position. So that's what you're looking for in a kid. You're not looking for arm strength and accuracy. You're looking for somebody who can lead people. And that is the epitome of what Sam can do. Sam leads people. But with that being said, he's the most accurate quarterback I've ever coached. And besides that, he's a kid that dissects defenses very easily. So it's pretty easy. You know, like everyone talks about Coach Russell being a good play caller. You know, it's pretty easy when Sam's the one dishing it out. And then going to Parrish, you know, the big thing about Parrish is we talked about a vocal leader and an action leader. Parrish is an action leader. Okay, he's the kid that's always going to do the right thing. He's the kid always touching the line. He's the kid that you say do 10 reps, he's doing 12 reps, you know. And then besides that, he's an unbelievable tackler. So for us, he is kind of a Swiss Army knife because he does play running back. He does return for us, and he also plays in the back end on our defense. So I think you picked two pretty good ones this week.
Well, I have to let everybody know Coach Kenny Deal's the one that picks them.
Coach Deal did a pretty good job picking them this week.
And he's pretty proud of himself for doing so. We are going to take a break. In a moment, you'll get to meet Sam Finnegan and Parrish Adger. As we go to the break, I remind you and your family, you are invited to worship in our church home Sunday mornings at First Melissa. 2 great services in person, 1 service online, 9 o'clock or 10:15. Join us in person, 11:30 a.m. each Sunday for an online worship service. Go to firstmelissa.com to find out more. We'll take a break, and you'll get to meet our players of the week right after this. Welcome back to the Cardinal Scoreboard Show. This is Trey Graham joining you from the Dugout Sports Grill at the Z-Plex. You'll get to join us on a Monday evening very soon and be part of our studio audience. Now you get to meet our Offensive Player of the Week from the victory over the Carrollton Ranch View Wolves. Quarterback Sam Finnegan is a senior. He was 7 of 12 passing for 196 yards. Of those 7 completions, 6 of them went for touchdowns. That gives you 27 touchdown passes on the season. It's not your first time here at the Dugout. Welcome back. Congratulations on being the Offensive Player of the game.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You heard Coach Nally brag on you a minute ago. I've asked you this before, but talk about the role of the team leader, the role of the quarterback.
You know, I've been blessed to be able to lead some pretty great guys, and it's pretty easy when everyone on the team is bought in and really wants to win. I don't have to say much or do much to get people motivated. It's just the team bought in, and really Coach Nally preaches one ship, don't let any water on the ship, and that's what we've done.
And obviously somebody has to catch those balls.
Oh, yeah.
So brag on your receivers.
It makes it really easy to throw touchdowns when your receivers will take it 95 yards and all I have to do is throw it 5, and that's what most of my touchdowns were. I mean, the receivers don't get enough credit for how amazing they are and just how many plays they really make.
And I've asked you before, but what do you want to do after high school?
I want to go play college football.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to spontaneously say to the audience right now?
Not really.
Like go Army, beat Navy or anything?
Go Army, beat Navy.
There you go. Very good. That's very spontaneous, Sam. Good job. Why college football? What do you want to do with that?
I want to follow in my dad and brother's footsteps. They both played. My dad played at BYU. My brother's at BYU right now. You know, I just think it'd be great to have the opportunity and go to school for free. So that'd be really nice.
And after football, what do you want to do?
That's a great question. I plan on majoring in either business or finance. So wherever that takes me, I guess.
Good. Well, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Sam Finnegan, again, our Offensive Player of the Week, the big victory over the Ranch View Wolves. We'll take a quick break, and you'll get to meet Parrish Adger right after this. Welcome back to the Dugout Sports Grill. This is Trey Graham. You're watching the Cardinal Scoreboard Show. Our Congratulations go right now to Parrish Adger. He was the Defensive Player of the Week for the victory over the Ranchview Wolves. You met Sam Finnegan a moment ago, so Parrish, before we start, are you faster than Sam?
Yes.
All right. Is he going to debate that?
He probably would, but I'm faster than
Okay, no question?
No question.
All right. You're a senior DB. Congratulations on playing a great game against the Wolves, Defensive Player of the Week. What does it take to be a good defensive back?
Like, just paying attention and, just, having your eyes on the right person at all times.
Okay. Coach Nally, now you got to speak up so everybody can hear you. Coach Nally said, as we all know, offense, defense, and special teams. What does it mean to be a well-rounded player?
It means a lot because you can help out the team in any way possible. So, just being there for your teammates, too.
Okay. What does it mean to be a leader for your team?
It means a lot because you have the younger guys looking at you and having the coaches count on you to, just do anything you can.
How long have you lived in Melissa?
A year and a half.
And before that?
I lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay. And what does it mean to you to be a Melissa Cardinal?
It means a lot because we're a family and all the players are there for each other.
Good. What's your favorite class in school?
Math.
All right. Why?
No. Actually, it's English.
Oh, you're changing your vote, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Why English?
Because I get to work on the stuff that I'm not really good at
Okay.
in English, so
Okay.
I just,
And do you have a favorite teacher?
no.
Okay. All right. This is Parrish Adger. He's the Defensive Player of the Week for the victory over the Wolves. Now, all the viewers of our games know that we play this little contest called the Longest Distance Listener Award, where people email in, tell us they're watching or listening to the game, and we see where they're from and how far away they are. And when you are named the Longest Distance Listener Award, you win nothing. All right? So we have people that watch from the state of Washington, state of California. We've got some folks that root for Finnegan that are in New Zealand, so they're like the default winner because you can't get further away than New Zealand. Except I'm waiting for somebody from the International Space Station to email in. But nevertheless, we've got Parrish Adger fans in Ghana, in Africa. Who are those folks? It's your aunt that's listening or watching, right? Or grandparents? Who's in Africa?
My aunt.
Okay. And do you have family there? Okay.
She just goes and visits.
Oh, she visits there. She doesn't live there. Okay. She's visiting who?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. So I'm not going to get a big history story about your history. Okay. All right. I thought this might be a little more exciting than that. All right. So she's just visiting.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Where does she live normally?
Houston?
Houston. And she can't win. See, now you know why. Here's the story, okay? You tell them that your aunt moved to visit people in Africa just so she could win the award for longest distance viewer because she wouldn't win it in Houston.
I believe so.
Okay. All right, here we go. Parrish Adger, the Defensive Player of the Week for the victory over the Ranchview Wolves. You're watching the Melissa Cardinals Network. Welcome back to the Melissa Cardinals Network. This is Trey Graham joining you from the Dugout Sports Grill at the Z-Plex. We have a lot of special partners and organizations that we work with here on the Melissa Cardinals Network. One of those is the Melissa Education Foundation, MEF. And MEF has a brand new director. Her name is Becky Gerard, and she is our guest tonight. Becky, welcome.
Thank you.
So great to visit with you. You didn't start your life as the MEF director.
I did not.
So give us a little bit of history.
Sure. My family and I moved to Melissa about 4 years ago, and I work for Children's. I still work for Children's. MEF.
Hospital?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, hospital system in the cardiology department with all the business operations and marketing. But I've got over 20 years of experience in nonprofit management. So when the opportunity came available and I got a phone call saying, hey, can we have a conversation? It just kind of went from there. And, you know, I think the Melissa Education Foundation, it's such a great rallying point for our families and our students and our educators. I couldn't pass up the opportunity to help make a difference.
So you work for Children's Hospital, now you work for Melissa Education Foundation, and you have a vested interest in Melissa Cardinals football.
I do. I absolutely do. Yes. My son Ty is at number 55. He's the center, and I'm the team mom chair this year, and having a blast. A lot of work, but a whole lot of fun with some great moms, boys and girl, and fantastic coaching program. So really excited to be a part of that.
We're visiting with Becky Gerard. She's the new director of the MEF, Melissa Education Foundation. Now, what I know about it is it gives scholarship money away.
It does. That's absolutely correct. I mean, we've got a lot of new people in the community, and we hear MEF a lot. For our new friends, it is the Melissa Education Foundation, and we started in 2005 under the direction of Lisa Zatto, and has been going strong since, and really exists to enable all of our students in Melissa to reach their full potential through student scholarships and teacher grants and educator grants. So not just teachers, all the way across the board. So
if you're giving away money, money has to come from somewhere.
Absolutely.
Where does it come from?
Absolutely. Well, our board is very committed and very unified in our mission to raise funds. We do that through donors and volunteers. Some are just straight donors for different scholarships and things like that. Some of them are through events. I know the MEF Gala is one that everybody's familiar with, amongst a lot of other events. That'll be held in the spring. But yeah, it's through the dedicated efforts of all of those folks, donors and volunteers. So very fortunate to be in this community.
And who receives the funds, and how do they receive them?
Absolutely. So the funds actually come into MEF, and student scholarships for the graduating seniors exist in the spring. There's a whole application process, which is a fantastic process. I've been a part of a lot of scholarship processes in my tenure in the nonprofit world, and this is one of the most fair, blind processes I've ever been part of. So I'm very excited about that. But there's an application process for our seniors, and then teachers also have the opportunity, and educators across the district have the opportunity to apply for grants for different things in their classrooms. What we really like to look for and find is that new, innovative, something to really go outside of the box or really expand that Melissa education experience. So very excited to be able to be a part of that as well.
So the basic question, why did you take this job?
Man, oh man. You know, I learned early on when I kind of started to learn about MEF, the kids, the students, and the educators are the heart and soul of MEF and of this district. And, you know, I just, through conversations and learning more about the role and how I can make an impact, it was something that I just feel very led to do and couldn't pass up the opportunity to make a difference. So.
Good. And all the people who are watching are by definition Melissa Cardinal fans.
Absolutely.
So how do they find out more? How do they get involved?
Well, there's a couple of different ways. Definitely email me. We'd love to get everybody plugged in some capacity with whatever they want to do, whatever their time,
What's
talents.
the address?
Becky, G, BECKIG, at melissaeducationfoundation.com. You can also come to our event, our community tailgate, on November the 6th. It'll be held at the high school in Symmetry Plaza. And for those who don't know what that is, it's that awesome green space courtyard. And we're going to have just a real good old-fashioned traditional tailgate. We're going to have food vendors and a burger package that you can buy, all that kind of stuff. Bring your chairs, bring your picnic if you prefer. We're going to have the band performing, cheer's going to perform, and just really celebrate the accomplishments of all of our fall activities. The kids here just do phenomenal things, and we just want to come together as a community and celebrate that for a couple hours and just launch into the next semester. So very excited to be.
Date and time?
Saturday, November 6th from 5 to about 7:30.
And the website?
The website is melissaeducationfoundation.com.
Our guest here on the Melissa Cardinals Network has been Becky Gerard, the new director of the Melissa Education Foundation, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Cardinal Scoreboard Show. This is Trey Graham with Matt Nally, and we are at the Dugout Sports Grill at the Z-Plex. This is the chance to talk about the big victory over the Carrollton Ranch View Wolves. But before that, let's talk about Parrish Adger was just a little bit overwhelmed with how loud the rest of the interviewer was.
Like I said, he is a great action leader.
Yeah.
He is a great action leader. So,
is he that quiet all the time?
Not all the time. Not all the time. You just got to put him in the right frame of mind.
Okay.
So you put a helmet on him and click the lights on. He gets
Put
loud.
the video camera in the talk show?
Yeah. It's not really his element.
Okay. Well, we do congratulate Sam Finnegan and Parrish Adger for being our Players of the Week as chosen by Kenny Deal in the big victory over the Ranch View Wolves. So now let me give you a few stats. That's one of my jobs. The Melissa Cardinals were favored, according to Dave Campbell's Texas Football's computer, by 80.
Yes,
And so when I found that out, I of course texted you and Seth and some other guys. I also sent a text to Matt Stepp of Texas Football, and I asked him if they ever favored anybody by more than 80, and he told me that he thinks that somebody was favored by 96 points.
All right.
And so if you took Ranch View plus 80, you would have covered in this week's bet.
Right.
Because Melissa only won 70-0. And so now I ask you some questions. Maybe I've already told you this, but do you know the most points scored in Melissa Cardinals varsity football history?
I do not.
Okay.
No, sir.
Well, it's not 70,
Well, dang.
because I should have told you this before the game. The most points ever scored in Melissa Cardinals varsity football history in the modern era, because there were a few games that were played in like 1911, but then there was like an 80-year gap. So in the modern history of Melissa Cardinals football, the biggest amount of points scored was 75 points.
Wow.
They scored 75 in 2004 in a victory over Red Oak Crusader Academy
All right.
in the second game ever played by
Wow.
Melissa.
Wow, dang right. Good for them.
Rick Gagrin was the coach.
Dang, Coach Gagrin.
Do you know Coach? Yeah. I'm not even sure Red Oak Crusader Academy still plays football. Maybe Coach Gagrin is responsible for that. So the biggest margin of victory, 75 points. Biggest margin of victory in the Matt Nally era, 70 points. Victory over Ranch View. And let's talk about the Wolves. We talked about them last week. That's now a 16-game losing streak. And I asked you last week, if you're Coach Smith of the Wolves, you've got to keep your team going. You've got to keep them motivated. You told me on the field before the game they were dressing only 27 players. 2 of them were kickers.
Right.
You dressed 58.
Right.
So we joke about it. It was 70-0, but it's a professional courtesy. It's a respect.
Right.
You're not there to beat them down or embarrass them. So what do you do when you're on the 70-point side of a 70-0 victory?
So on the 70-point side, what we did is when we went into the game, we had a plan. And the plan was we were going to let our ones play to a certain point, and then we're going to make sure our twos got in, and then we're going to make sure that our threes got in. Because at the end of the day, to win in the playoffs, you got to have depth. So that's what we're trying to do right now is build depth, get a lot of kids, a lot of reps. So I didn't know that it was going to go the way it went. Like Sam only played 18 plays. So making a long story
And
short,
6 touchdown
and
passes.
6 touchdowns. I never envisioned it would go like that. I thought he would get about 30. I thought the one offense would get about 30 snaps, and then I could start sprinkling in my twos in the second half. And then by the end of the third and the fourth, I could start, okay, I'm fixing to start building a lot of depth. I never thought that it would be 63-0 at halftime. Obviously, I mean, they're a program that's still building and trying to, really get that thing in the right direction. I never wanted to do that to any. My wife came to me after the game, and she was like, why didn't you score more than Argyle scored? And I was like, I can't do that. That's just not who I am. There's a lot of people that are okay with doing that to people. I'm not. I've
But
never
at the
been
same time, the opponent does have to tackle your player.
Correct. But, we're a high-tempo offense. We went from a high-tempo to our muddle huddle, our 4-minute offense. And then besides that, I mean, I wanted my younger kids to get some experience in a game, in a Friday night game. There's one kid that I'm not going to name on air, but he was so nervous to play. He threw up before the game, and he went in. He had a great game, but we brought him up to see how he would react, and he played extremely well. But he's extremely nervous, and that's the type of stuff that we're trying to get out. You know what I mean? Let him get in. Let those nerves get out. I can do this. I can play on a Friday night. So. It's a lot of planning in the regards of how you're going to structure how the game works itself out. So I've been in a couple games like that before, and it's really hard because you can't see the future. You just don't know how it's going to work. I've never been a part of a game like on Friday night. I've never been a part of that. Never. I've never been in a part of where they turn the ball over, we score in one play. They turn the ball over, we score in one. You know what I mean? I've never been a part of that. And now, I mean, it's a testament to our kids. Our kids played extremely well, and they executed and did what they were supposed to do. And our coaches had a great game plan going in. I mean, they had, negative 13 points or negative 13 yards?
Total offense, Melissa, 449 yards. Ranch View, total offense for the game, minus 13 yards.
Right. So, I mean, and besides that, what made me really excited was, Walker got in and got some varsity experience at quarterback, ran a touchdown, threw a touchdown. And I want, Carson Maynard's a kid that we're really going to have to lean on from here on out. He has unbelievable hands. So for him getting in the end zone again, he's been in the end zone before this year, but for him getting in the end zone again and making an unbelievable catch that he made, those kids are just maturing so much, and getting to watch them play is a lot of fun. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's all about right now building depth. If we can win Friday night, we're going to be mathematically the district champ. So allowing those kids to have an opportunity to play in a big game like Terrell's going to be, playing in a big game like Kaufman's going to be, and then obviously in the playoffs is going to set up for success this year, but it's also going to set up for success in the future. So that's really what these games are all about. And like I said, I did not want it to be 70-0. I did not want it to be 63-0 at halftime. But yes, they have got to tackle our kids.
This is Trey Graham with Matt Nally. You're watching the Cardinal Scoreboard Show. We try to bring you insights into the Melissa football program that you'll get nowhere else. One of the things that we do is educate the audience about stuff that we talk about off the air. Talk about running clock. Right. How it works, how it comes to pass, when does it happen. Obviously, they know the second half took shorter than halftime this past Friday. So talk about how the phenomenon of running clock works.
So most of the time, and I've been on the other end where coaches don't want to, but most of the time, so you have a referee on your side and you have a referee on the other side, the side judges. And they are the ones that communicate for you to the white hat to the other side. So before halftime, I said to my side judge, hey, if he wants to run the clock, let's run the clock. So then after halftime, that side judge comes to me and says, hey, he wants to run the clock. And then it's just out of courtesy and whatnot to run the clock. Now,
what that means is the clock doesn't stop on an incomplete pass or a player out of bounds. What takes a 48-minute game for 2.5 hours when you stop the clock. So running clock means you don't stop it.
Right. Now, I've been a part of games where you say, hey, do you want to run the clock? And they say no. So.
And you were on the winning side of that?
You're on the winning side. And they're like, no, we don't want to run the clock. So I've been a part of it, both sides, let's do this. And no, we're not going to do that. So.
And the officials don't vote. It's not their call.
No, sir. Both head coaches have to be in agreement to do that. I can think of my first head coaching game here. We played Argyle Liberty Christian, and at that time it was 49-0, and they had gotten a couple kids hurt. And I said to the coach, "Hey, do you want to run the clock?" And he
said, the officials.
Through the officials,
right.
And he said no. And then another kid, one of their kids got hurt, and we were both out there, and he's like, "Okay, now let's run the clock." So, but no, sir, it is both head coaches have got to be in agreement to run the clock.
And would you ever have that talk before the game?
Ranch View, we had that discussion, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. But it's more or less like, take it easy on me. If we get to a point, let's run the clock. Things like that. But at the end of the day, you try to be as professional because this is somebody that you consider a fraternity brother. You're in this profession together, and you're trying to take care of him. And his kids. We had that conversation on Friday night with my coaching staff is, our job right now is to take care of our kids, yes, but it's also to take care of his kids because it's not in my bones to do that to somebody. So
I told Coach Deal during the broadcast what I thought your 3 goals were. Shut out, play a lot of kids, keep everybody healthy.
Agree.
Did
All
you go 3 for 3?
I did not. I actually, Luke Fowler caught a touchdown. When he caught a touchdown, when we went down, he fractured his collarbone. And Ahmad May, we were trying to transition Ahmad into kind of like more of a wildcat quarterback because he's so fast and electric. And he had played quarterback before. So we were trying to get him reps just in case something had happened to Sam or something had happened to Walker. We'd already started working somebody else. And then he ran and outside zone little play, and he broke his collarbone last year and it was in the same spot.
I mentioned to Parrish Adger when he was just thrilled to be talking with me, as everyone noticed. We have folks that email in during the game. Mm-hmm. One person who emailed in during this past game was Kennedy Brantley, was at home watching after a surgery. So give a little shout out to Kennedy.
Yeah, Kennedy was, and that's the thing about it, and it's heartbreaking. And I was telling my wife over the weekend, I was at my son's game, when you hear about Luke and you hear about Ahmad, I mean, it's just soul crushing because that kid, and you remember playing and you get something taken away from you, it's devastating. So, and the thing about Kennedy is Kennedy was playing so well, so extremely well, and you could see that he was fixing to just be the guy. And then he's just trying to do his job and be a teammate on kickoff, and just takes the wrong way, and the kid hits him and he tears his ACL. So Kennedy is sorely missed, but the great thing about Kennedy is Kennedy still comes to practice, still is a part of the team. You can see Kennedy throwing passes and catching passes. I mean, he has a goal, and he's going to reach his goal because of his work ethic right now, even being injured. But the thing about it is we have great kids here in Melissa, and you don't want any of them to get hurt. You don't want any one of them to get hurt. And when it happens, like I said, it doesn't matter if they're the all-star D1 kid or the kid that just has a role on the team. It's devastating.
You are watching the Cardinal Scoreboard show. This Friday, the Cardinals go on the road to take on the Terrell Tigers. We invite you to be by the channel. 7 o'clock pregame show, 7:30 kickoff. Coach Sedberry and the Tigers talk about Terrell.
Terrell's extremely athletic, extremely fast. The one thing that he does really well is they run an old school style of offense. It's kind of like Paris, except Paris is a little bit, they've taken the old school and kind of made it new school a little bit, where Coach Sedberry is not. It's straight old school. He's going to run the power smash. He's going to get in a pro set and try to run it down your throat, and then he's going to try to get on the edge. So he does a really good job with those kids. He doesn't have a lot of kids on the varsity, but those kids he has on the varsity are extremely talented, extremely athletic, and extremely fast. On the defensive side of it, his defensive front is massive. They're extremely physical up front, and in the back end, they're extremely athletic. So it's going to be a good game. I don't care. People look at records and all these other things. It's really hard to win a football game with 16 and 17-year-olds. It just is. You don't know what's going through a kid's mind, and not just that. I mean, kids deal with so much things, and then we put a football game in front of them and whatnot. So they'll be a good team. It'll be a good test for us.
The 6-2 Melissa Cardinals are 4-0 in the district. Terrell is 4-4 overall, 1-3 in the district. And again, thank you to Dave Campbell's for putting out their top 10 today to get it in time for our program. You remain number 4 in the state of Texas, Class 4A Division I. Argyle remains number 5. Kaufman, who was number 10, your game 2 weeks from now, has dropped out.
Right.
And who moved in? Waco La Vega.
Right.
Who could be an opponent down the road.
Correct.
So let's don't do a lot because it bores people probably, the bracketology that I do. But we do this. We start looking ahead. So do you start scouting potential playoff opponents, because you've not confirmed who they are yet? Do you start scouting possible opponents this far in advance?
Absolutely. Like, we've already started scouting people 2 weeks ago. And Huddle makes it so much easier these days than when I was a younger kid in the regards, you'd have to go and get the VHS tape. Now you can just ask somebody and they'll send it to you through Huddle. Yeah, we've been doing that for 2 weeks, probably maybe even longer. than that. So, but yeah, we've already started breaking people down, how you can attack them and whatnot. And you send me your bracketology. Well, every coach has their own bracketology, and they've got it formulated who we're going to see and whatnot. And what we try to do is we try to get those films from people. So the crazy thing is we have film on every single person until the 5th round. But once again, I mean, Huddle's such a great tool. But we're coaches, so we like watching football, especially high school football. So it's a lot of fun to watch.
You've been enjoying another edition of the Cardinal Scoreboard Show. We're here at the Dugout Sports Grill at the Z-Plex. You'll get to join us in person in just a couple of weeks, be part of our studio audience. Again, we invite you to be by the channel, the Melissa Cardinals Network, this Friday, 7 o'clock pregame show, 7:30 kickoff. Make sure you follow Melissa ISD on YouTube and you follow the Melissa Cardinals Network on Facebook. Congratulations to Coach Matt Nally and the Cardinals on a 6-game winning streak. We do thank our special guests, Parrish Adger, Sam Finnegan, for being our players of the game, and we will see you this Friday.